Every year at CES, you see a lot of screens, bigger screens, thinner screens, faster refresh rates. But at CES 2026, I ran into something that genuinely stopped me in my tracks because it feels less like a monitor and more like having a personal Jarvis sitting on your desk. This is the CyboPal ONE, and it is being positioned as the world's first active tracking AI robotic monitor. And after spending time with it on the show floor, I kind of get why they're calling it that. Now, this video is sponsored by CyboPal, but that doesn't honestly change my overall thoughts on this product because I was genuinely impressed by the innovation here from this product. So what exactly is CyboPal ONE? Well, at its core, it is a 24-inch 4K monitor mounted on a 6-axis robotic arm. But calling it just a monitor really undersells what exactly it's trying to do. The whole idea here is that the screen does not stay fixed in one position. It actively moves, tracks you, and responds to you in real time. Instead of you constantly adjusting your posture, your chair, your neck, moving the monitor up and down yourself, the screen adapts to you. One of the most impressive things I saw was the act of tracking itself. I mean, this thing does follow you. There's an auto follow mode where you literally give it a thumbs up gesture and the display will track your movement as you shift from side to side, lean back, or stand up. You can move around naturally and the screen will keep itself positioned in front of you without feeling jerky or robotic. It is subtle, but once you notice it, going back to just a static monitor kind of feels outdated. Then there's this shape-shifting aspect, which feels like a sci-fi thing at first. Using simple hand gestures, you can instantly snap the display into different modes, like sitting and reclining and standing, or even a vertical orientation. Watching the robotic arm smoothly reposition the screen into place in real time was one of those classic CES wow moments that I haven't really had in a while. It's not just moving for the sake of moving. It's clearly designed around how people actually work or how they consume content at their desk throughout the day. CyboPal also lets you physically interact with the screen in midair. You can reach out and gently pull or push or tilt the display to exactly where you might need it, and the arm will respond immediately. There is something oddly satisfying about grabbing the screen and having it cooperate instead of resisting you like a traditional monitor mount. On top of that, CyboPal ONE leans heavily into multimodal interaction, meaning you're not just limited to a mouse and keyboard. Gesture control and voice control are a big part of the experience. One demo that stood out was the touchless Air mouse, where you can scroll and click from a distance using hand movements. It's all about the hand movements with this. They also showed a gesture paired with voice input that can trigger AI functions like Google Gemini instantly. And it's clearly designed for those multitasking scenarios or even situations where your hands might be a little busy or messy maybe and you just don't want to touch your peripherals. Another big focus is viewing comfort. Because the screen is constantly adjusting its position, CyboPal ONE is always trying to maintain what they describe as the golden viewing angle. So whether you're sitting upright, leaning back, or standing at your desk, the screen stays aligned with your eyes. On a large 4K display, that makes a noticeable difference for a long work session, gaming, or even just sitting back and watching some YouTube videos, like this one. That ties directly into the ergonomic and health angle, which is something a lot of people overlook with monitors. CyboPal ONE actively encourages dynamic posture. Instead of locking you into one position for hours, getting tech neck, it adapts as you shift throughout the day. The system creates what they call an eye protection zone, automatically aligning the display to reduce neck strain and back strain. If you work long hours at a desk like I do, maybe you're editing video, writing code, trading stocks, or a gamer late into the night, this kind of active adjustment could actually matter more than another bump in refresh rate. In fact, I would encourage that over a bump in refresh rate. This is more important to me. Using it on the CES showroom floor, I tried it in multiple scenarios, sitting, standing, leaning off to the side, doing all of the hand gestures, and just seeing how quickly it does respond once you get the hang of it is pretty remarkable. The tracking was fast, the movements were smooth, and nothing felt like a canned demo. It genuinely felt like a new category rather than a fancy monitor stand with motors. So, why would somebody actually want something like this on their desk? The simplest way to explain it is that traditional monitors are pretty passive. They sit there and they force you to adapt to them. CyboPal ONE is active. When you move, it moves. When you change posture, it can adjust. You can adjust it on the fly for whatever angle you're sitting in. This is the difference. It's just more about reducing friction and getting you convenience in your workspace. I personally would love it if CyboPal somehow eventually made a monitor-free version of this and just sold the robotic arm to be paired with other monitors out there too, because it's not to take away from the one that's included because it was a good 4K panel, but I have a Pro Display XDR here. It's a fantastic monitor and there's not a lot out there that really beat it. but it has a stand that's like $1,000 that doesn't do any of the stuff that this does. So if I can add in the CyboPal ONE robotic arm with my monitor, that would be a dream come true. Of course, there are boundaries to be clear about. What I saw at CES is a real working product, but it is still early in development. So desk space and setup will matter, and this is definitely not meant for minimalists with tiny desks. This is also not about replacing every monitor for every user. It's more about rethinking what a primary display can do. So as far as who this is really for, it makes a lot of sense for people who deal with a lot of information all day. Coders, IT professionals, traders, designers, streamers, gamers are the obvious targets. You're spending long hours on the screen and constantly adjusting your setup up and down and all of that. And this can kind of actively change the way you kind of look at comfort and efficiency from a monitor point of view. If you just casually check email and browse the web, probably overkill, but it's still a lot of fun to do, and I really like it. Again, this is not just an AI robotic monitor, but something closer to that personal Jarvis living on your desk. Makes me feel like I am Iron Man. CyboPal is planning a Kickstarter launch, and if they can deliver on what I saw at CES, this could end up being one of the more interesting desk tech products to come out of the show. But I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the new CyboPal ONE, and be sure to check them out in that description. This has been Dan with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.